Christian and I love everybody, and I want everybody to be treated equally. I assure you.
Yes, sir.
Even people that I really don't like what they did, I
Right.
still believe in treating them. They're human beings.
That's good to hear. That's good to hear. I'm a Christian. I'm a Marine Corps veteran. That's another
Thank you
reason
for your
why.
service. I'm an Army vet.
Okay.
Yes.
It's Hula, right? Over in Hula.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's another reason why I do what I do is like y'all swearing an oath to the Constitution. Even though I'm out of the Marine Corps, I swore a lifelong oath to protect and defend the Constitution, and that oath never expires.
Once a Marine, always a Marine.
Once a Marine, always a Marine. In fact, I actually just released. It's on Spotify now. I got a new podcast called The Rico Tapes, and the first episode just came out. And
well, you have a card? I might check it out.
I don't have any cards. I need to get some cards. But I'll go ahead and
my
tell
card.
You. Yeah.
You can email me at one.
I'll go ahead and tell you. We the People News is. I'm with We the People News. The We the People News is my baby. And
write it down. I might be able to dig it up.
But this the Rico Tapes. Back in, I entered the Marine Corps in December.
What's your name? I'm sorry.
I go by Don. Everybody calls me Don.
That's good.
Yeah.
I just was trying to make sure I get the right source if I research.
Absolutely. So yeah, it's as far as the Rico Tapes, the first episode, I in 2008, in May of 2008, I witnessed a gruesome suicide. I was in combat training, and the guy put the M16 in his mouth, put it on 3-round burst, and pulled the trigger. The Marine Corps covered that up. And I appreciate it. It's effect, and especially
that will make you that can set off some PTSD tendencies.
It did
when you're exposed to that kind of stuff.
Well,
same with cops, and we're exposed to a lot of bad. So vets are too, and what actually happened? I was a psychiatric specialist in the Army. I worked on the psych ward with that stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, so it did.
It's terrible.
It's certainly. Terrible. I took to self-medicating using alcohol while I was in, and the Marine Corps, what they did is when that suicide happened, they labeled it as a training accident. All the obituaries online showed that Lance Corporal Bradley Faust died of a training accident. And so I was self-medicating using alcohol. They discharged me a year prior to my discharge date for alcohol rehabilitation failure. They looked at that as like a misconduct, but they didn't look at it like what it really was, which is a bandage for the PTSD that I experienced.
That's your coping, one of your coping.
And thank God I haven't touched alcohol since 2018.
But I commend you for that.
But
that's terrible.
It's terrible, and so all of this. I see that as basically a catalyst. In doing that, they rewrote reality. The Marine Corps rewrote reality into the record by saying that was a training accident, because when I kept trying to say that I had witnessed a suicide, the suicide never existed in the record because they rewrote it as a training accident.
Advise his family to investigate that.
I have reached out to his...
You'd have to get the family to stir it up.
I've reached out to his family.
Make that request.
I've reached out to his family. I did a FOIA request into the Marine Corps in 2017, and I actually got the proof that they actually changed the standard operating procedures that month, 2008, to disallow live ammunition on Armory Watch. And then I got the guy's name and all that through FOIA requests, and then the system clamped down on me. It was so. I've had some of the worst public corruption that has been aimed at me going back to 2017.
I would strongly encourage you to get in contact with that family and give them that information.
I am.
You really, really need to do that. That's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
That is totally wrong.
And if it's in these obituaries as a training accident, I know that his family had to have been fed the same information. And it's a touchy area because, obviously their son died in 2008. They've gotten past the grief. I'm about to have to open the grief back up into the family, but it has to happen. I feel like,
my brother was shot and killed in the line of duty. I have 2 younger brothers that are Louisiana State Troopers, and we reopen the grief with the trial every time. Victims need rights.
They do.
And I'm a big proponent of victims.
Yeah.
Seriously. And our justice system needs to seek justice on that.
It does.
Sounds very similar.
Yes, sir.
You need to be a proponent and an activist for victims.
That's what I am. That's what I try to do.
It's all about the victims.
And
it's always it should be about the victims.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
And I commend you for that.
It takes a lot of guts to blow, because it ultimately made me a whistleblower, and coming out with the RICO tapes and
you got protection. The laws on whistleblowing now are really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
You have way more protection. They can't do what they used to do, and that's a good thing.
Exactly. So I want to give you, and I need to put this on my website, on the We the People News website. Let me give you this website address so you can listen to that. It's a 15-minute.
Give it to me. So I'm going to get it right here.
RICOtapes.online. RICOTAPES.online, and it's got the first episode on there.
I will check it out.
And yeah.
Semper Fi, even though I'm a soldier.
Semper Fi, yes, sir.
Pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you, too.
Thank you so much for your service.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much, sir.
And if you need anything from us, we're here to help.
Thank you. It's great meeting you. Thank you, sir. May 2008. The name Camp Devil Dog might sound like something out of a war movie, but to us, it was just another Marine Corps training base. An isolated post where the days blended into one another, and air carried the smell of sweat, dust, and gun oil, and the rules were as much a part of life as breathing. On that particular night, I was assigned to a roving post. Roving meant motion. You moved through your assigned area in regular intervals, stopping at checkpoints, scanning for anything out of place. In training environments, the most dangerous thing you usually encountered was boredom. But boredom wasn't on the schedule that night. The Marine assigned to us Armory Watch was Lance Corporal Bradley Faust. He wasn't particularly outspoken, not someone you'd pick out in a crowd, but not invisible either. Like many of us, he carried burdens that weren't visible on the surface. As Armory Watch, he had access to the weapons. That's what the position meant. It was a responsibility that the Corps took seriously, entrusting Marines with guarding the very tools of our profession. The night air was still, punctuated only by the occasional call of distant wildlife and the familiar sounds of a military base at night, generators humming, the occasional vehicle passing, boots on the gravel as Marines moved between posts. I had just completed my check of the eastern perimeter when it happened. No one saw it coming. No warning signs that night. No whispered confessions. Just the sound, that unmistakable sound of an M16 set to 3-round burst. In training environments, gunfire was tightly controlled. Live rounds at that hour in that place were never part of the plan. Not only was I close enough to hear it, but I was also close enough to see it. Close enough to get there quickly, but not quickly enough. The scene was something you don't forget. The way the human body collapses when it's no longer alive. The smell of cordite in the air. the weapon still near his hand, the armory racks standing silently behind him, like mute witnesses. Lance Corporal Bradley Faust had made a decision from which there was no return. Within hours, the officers were there. Not just the on-duty supervisors, but higher-ranking men whose boots didn't usually touch the concrete outside their offices. They took control, ordered Marines back to their quarters, and secured the scene. The base became a flurry of activity. Medical personnel, military police, chaplains moving with purpose through spaces usually defined by routine and order. When the paperwork was done, it said training accident. That label carried weight. It wasn't just semantics. A suicide could mean loss of death benefits for Faust's family. A training accident could preserve them. At least that was the justification we were given. But in labeling it that way, they'd also rewritten reality. I watched as they sanitized the scene, not just of physical evidence, but of truth itself. The official narrative began to take shape before Faust's body had even been removed. A narrative that would protect the institution at the expense of honesty. Senior officers spoke in hushed tones about unfortunate incidents and operational security. Phrases that served to distance everyone from what had actually happened. A Marine, one of our own, had taken his life while on duty. That was the first time I saw how truth could be edited. How the official truth could be made to serve an agenda. In the days that followed, we weren't encouraged to discuss what happened. Faust's personal effects disappeared from his quarters. His name became something mentioned only in whispers. The machinery of institutional self-preservation moved with remarkable efficiency, transforming a suicide into an accident, a personal tragedy into an administrative inconvenience. I stayed in the Corps after that, but I wasn't the same. That night planted something in me. A distrust, a refusal to take official statements at face value. I began to notice other instances where reality was adjusted to fit preferred narratives. Small at first, then increasingly significant. Training incidents where safety violations were downplayed. Disciplinary actions that seemed more about protecting certain individuals than maintaining standards. Equipment failures attributed to operator error rather than maintenance deficiencies. By 2011, I was discharged. The paperwork said alcohol rehabilitation failure. The Corps made it sound like the drinking was the disease, but I knew better. The drinking was just a bandage on something deeper. PTSD, though I couldn't get it recognized because the incident that triggered it didn't officially exist as a suicide. The system that had rewritten Bradley Faust's death was equally efficient at reframing my struggles as simple misconduct, rather than the consequence of witnessing something that had shaken my faith in the institution I'd committed to serve. Years passed. The memory didn't. One day, I decided to push back. I filed a Freedom of Information Act request, not just for closure, but for proof. I wanted the records on that night, the internal communications, the after-action reports. If the Corps had quietly changed its standard operating procedures because of what had happened, I wanted it in writing. And I got it. Buried in the pages was the change. No more live ammunition for Armory Watch at Marine Corps training facilities. It was an unspoken admission that the training accident wasn't an accident at all. The policy change acknowledged what the official record denied: that Lance Corporal Bradley Faust had died by suicide, and that the circumstances that allowed it needed to be prevented in the future. That FOIA request didn't go unnoticed. Emails started showing up. Some were straightforward denials of certain documents. Others felt more personal. Some carried undertones, the kind you recognize if you dealt with people in power who want you to stop digging. They weren't random. The names tied back to people with connections. Law enforcement, political figures, individuals who on paper had no reason to care about my FOIA request regarding a Marine who had died years earlier at a training facility far from Mississippi. By May 2017, the pressure wasn't just coming from the shadows. It was out in the open. Oxford, Mississippi was in the middle of a quiet political shift. The state flag, the Mississippi flag, had been removed from city property. That wasn't done by accident or slow bureaucratic erosion. It was the result of a push led by then Board of Aldermen member Robin Tannehill. She authored the referendum. The board approved. The mayor signed off. And in a matter of days, something that had flown over city property for generations was gone. Now Tannehill was running for mayor, unopposed. Election day was set for June 6, 2017. That spring, I took my protest to the public square. I didn't carry the American flag. I carried the Mississippi state flag, the one they'd taken down, as a direct statement. I believed in the right to speak out, the right to dissent, the right to be visible. That's what the First Amendment is for. But in Oxford, visibility comes with a price. On May 1st, 2017, I crossed paths with Lafayette County Sheriff's Deputy Timmy Pruitt. He wasn't wearing his badge, just the blank space on his uniform where it should have been. That absence spoke volumes before he even said a word. The encounter was brief, but heated. I asserted my rights. He gave me an order to leave. I asked on what grounds. He told me if I didn't leave, I'd go to jail. Moments later, he made good on that threat. The arrest was caught on camera. That video spread fast, shared by large platforms and pages that reached audiences far beyond Lafayette County. The public reaction was swift and overwhelmingly in my favor. Pruitt's actions were criticized loudly and often. I was told he'd been placed on administrative leave, though some called it a vacation, while county officials decided how to handle the fallout. But the timing was no coincidence. While I was being arrested, my ex, Phyllis Liz Crowder, and her attorney were in Lafayette County Chancery Court filing papers to block me from seeing or speaking to my only child at the time, my daughter Lydia. One hand held the cuffs, while they robbed me of my rights as a father. The rest of May was a steady escalation. The protests didn't stop. The legal moves against me intensified. The email threats kept coming. Surveillance became harder to ignore. The city's political machinery was engaged, and I was in its direct path. On May 26th, everything was in motion. The pressure, the hostility, the calculated steps taken against me, all of it converged. And that's where my story, as you'll hear on the RICO tapes and in my book, American Injustice, begins. What happened to Lance Corporal Bradley Faust that night at Camp Devil Dog set me on a path I never anticipated. His death, officially sanitized, institutionally reframed, opened my eyes to how power operates when it believes no one's watching. The quest for truth about his suicide has led me to question other official narratives, to challenge other instances where reality was being rewritten to serve those in authority. I couldn't have known then that my pursuit of truth would eventually cost me my freedom, my family, and nearly a decade of my life. But looking back, I can see how that night in 2008 was truly the first domino. The moment when I began to understand that official truth and actual truth are often separated by a gulf filled with power, politics, and institutional self-preservation.
They said, quiet, just play your part. But I lost it all trying to listen to my heart. Friends fell off when the fire got real. Family vanished when the wounds wouldn't heal. Lydia's face in my mind through the dark. Her laugh echo loud, it's my spark in the arc. Marriage gone like a whispering wind. While I stood for the truth, they ain't want me defend. Felt betrayal from the ones I fed. Same ones now praying, I wound up dead. Courtroom lies, I ain't for to retreat. Even caged in the system, I refuse to speak. Took every loss, still sharpen my aim. They laugh when I cried, now remember my name. Gave up peace, gave up love, gave up art, but I never gave up. I listened to my heart. They took my freedom, took my name, tore my life apart, but I still stood tall. I just listened to my heart. Lost love, lost friends, left me out in the dark, but I never lost soul. I just listened to my heart. They can't kill truth, can't change what's real, can't stop this voice or the way I feel. So through the pain, the war, the cold, the start, I walk this road alone, still listening to my heart. Every tear I shed became a weapon in my chest. Every sleepless night just put my will to the test. I ain't just fighting charges, I'm fighting for my name, for my kids to know they daddy never bowed to shame. They took my time, my home, my spark, but couldn't dim the fire burning deep in my heart. Let them judge, let them lie, tear my story apart. But I still breathe truth, I still listen to my heart. I remember cold nights, Galveston Steel, 11 months lost, scars that won't heal. Called insane while they plotted and schemed, but I saw the whole play from behind the screen. Didn't flinch when they brought on the heat, didn't break when the devil tried taking my seat. Didn't fold when the system played dirty, told them I was built for the war, they ain't worthy. Madeline gone, yeah, the silence hit hard, like echoes of laughter, trapped in the yard. Friends dipped quick, love turned to ash, still I rose from the smoke with a rebel stash. I lost years they could never give back, now I'm climbing out the wreck with the truth on my back. Pulled me down, but I stood from the start, and I die on this hill, I still listen to my heart.